Hare Krishna. We continue reading from Bhagavad Gita as it is, chapter 4, Transcendental Knowledge, text 35. Yaj gyatva na punarmoham evam yasyasi pandava yena bhutani asheshani drakshyasi atmani atho mayi. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Shilpa Prabhupada. See, this is a bit long. Okay. Having obtained real knowledge from a self-realized soul, you will never fall again into such illusion. For by this knowledge, you will see that all living beings are but part of the Supreme, or in other words, that they are mine. So yesterday we heard that Krishna was saying, Pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya upadekshayanti te jnanam jnaninas tattva darshinaha. Krishna informs us how should we approach a tattvadarshi with submission, with humility, and serve them and put questions to them. Put question to them, and then by being pleased, they will clear away our ignorance. This is yesterday Krishna said. So now he's saying, now when we are getting real knowledge, from a self-realized soul, it means from a liberated person, self-realized soul, he's already on the platform of the soul. You will never fall again into such illusion. Why? Because you already have the real knowledge. Once you have real knowledge, you're not going to come back again. You're not going to start thinking I'm the body again. For by this knowledge, you will see what happens. You will see that all living beings are but part of the Supreme, or in other words, that they are mine. So what is real knowledge? To understand that we are all parts and parcels of the Supreme Lord, that each and every living entity belongs to the Supreme Lord. That is real knowledge. That I am a part and parcel of the Supreme Lord, and so is all other living entities. Krishna is saying that they are mine. He himself is saying here in Bhagavad Gita, all living entities are mine. The result of receiving knowledge from a self-realized soul, or one who knows things as they are, is learning that all living beings are parts and parcels of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Shri Krishna. So all souls are parts and parcels of the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna. That is real knowledge. The sense of an existence separate from Krishna is called Maya. Ma, not ya, this. So what is Maya? Maya means when we think we are separated from Krishna, that we do not belong to Krishna, that we are, we have nothing here. Something that we have nothing to do with Krishna. That Krishna is only a great historical personality, and that the Absolute is the impersonal Brahman. So when we think that we have nothing to do with Krishna, that Krishna was just a mythological figure, or even if he was not mythological, he was there 5,000 years ago, what relevance it is to me now? 5,000, he's gone, finished, I'm here, I'm myself. That thinking is Maya. Thinking that I am not connected to Krishna is Maya. So factually it is stated in the Bhagavad Gita, this impersonal Brahman is the personal effulgence of Krishna. So the Brahma Jyoti, the Brahman, where is that coming from? It's coming from the bodily effulgence of Krishna. Krishna, as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is the cause of everything. In the Brahma Samhita, it is clearly stated that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the cause of all causes. So Lord Brahma says that in the first Brahma Samhita, Ishvara Parama Krishna Satchidananda Vigraha.
Anadir Govinda. Anadir Govinda.
Yes?
Sarva
Karana.
Sorry.
Ishvara Parama Krishna Satchidananda Vigraha. Anadir Adir Govinda, Sarva Karana Karana, cause of everything. So if I come to the point that the impersonal Brahman, the Brahma Jyoti is the absolute truth, there is still a cause. Where is this Brahman coming from? There is still a cause. Till the time we don't reach to the point of Krishna, our research is not yet finished. But once we come to the point of Krishna, all research work is finished. All research. That's the reason Krishna says that one who actually is in knowledge, he surrenders unto me, because there is nothing beyond Krishna. There is no one beyond Krishna. And Krishna says, Vedescha sarver aham eva vedyo. One who knows me, understands me, means he's understood all knowledge. All knowledge. So he's the cause of everything. And so Brahmaji is also telling us that, he's teaching us that. So in the Brahma Samhita, it is clearly stated, we said that, even the millions of incarnations are only his different expansions. Similarly, the living entities are also expansions of Krishna. So there is the incarnations of Krishna, right? Who are the incarnations? Lord, for example, Lord Ramachandra, Lord Nishingadev, Buddha, Kapila Dev, Matsya, Kurma, so many incarnations, but they're all Vishnu Tattva. They're all expansions of Krishna. They're all Vishnu Tattva. Now, who are we? We, living entities, we souls. Where are we coming from? We are also expansions of Krishna, but we are not Vishnu Tattva. We are Jiva Tattva. We are souls. We are expansions of Krishna, but we are in the Jiva category. We are not in the Vishnu Tattva category. We are not in his category of like Lord Nishingadev and Lord Ramachandra and all that. No. Yes, we are souls. Yes, we are expansions of Krishna, and we are in the Jiva category. So the Mayavadi philosophers wrongly think that Krishna loses his own separate existence in his many expansions. This thought is material in nature. So it's not that Krishna has so many expansions and that the original person Krishna does not exist anymore. It's like if I take one candle and if I light many, many, many candles from it, the original candle still remains. It's not that the original candle is no more. It's there. It's there. So many expansions are coming from Krishna, but Krishna, the original person, still remains. So we have experience in the material world that a thing, when fragmentally distributed, loses its own original identity. But the Mayavadi philosophers fail to understand that absolute means that 1 + 1 is equal to 1, and that 1 - 1 is also equal to 1. This is the case in the absolute world. So now if I have a cake, and if I cut 10 parts of the cake, so then I don't have the full cake anymore. Then I have 10 parts of a cake. But that is the material world. And if I take away 2 parts, then I have only 8 parts of a cake. And that's the material world. Now, what's the spiritual world? What's the absolute platform? 1 + 1 is equal to 1, and 1 - 1 is also equal to 1. And if we try to understand it with our material reasoning, we won't be able to. Why? Because the mind is material. The mind cannot think of anything spiritual. Spiritual knowledge has to be heard and has to be assimilated. So that is what we have to understand, that Krishna is on the absolute platform. So absolute means 1 + 1 equal to 1, and 1 - 1 also equal to 1. This is in the absolute world. Should we continue with this?
How long is this?
This is this one paragraph here.
So if you are okay and everybody okay, we can finish this, and the Kunti we can do a little part.
Okay, so, for want of sufficient knowledge in the absolute science, we are not covered with illusion, and therefore we think that we are separate from Krishna. So what is our illusion? What is our ignorance? Is that we think we are separate from Krishna. That is illusion. And that means we do not have the absolute knowledge, for want of sufficient knowledge in the absolute science, because we do not have the knowledge of the absolute world. So we are covered, we are in Maya, we are thinking we are separate from Krishna. Although we are separated parts of Krishna, we are nevertheless not different from him. So here comes the philosophy of Achintya Bheda Abheda Tattva. We are separated parts of Krishna, yet we are not different from him. You know, that yes, we are parts of him, separated parts, but yet we are not different. What does it mean? It means we are same in quality. Krishna is Satchidananda, we are Satchidananda. Krishna is spiritual, we are spiritual. But in quantity, we are different. Quantity is different. Just like quantity of salt in a drop of ocean water is different than the quantity of salt in the ocean, although salt is there in both. The quality is there. Salt is there in both, but the quantity is different. Similarly, we are parts of Krishna, non-different from Krishna. So the bodily difference of the living entities is Maya, or not fact, not actual fact. The bodily difference of the living entities is Maya, or not actual fact. We are thinking that we are this body, we are forgotten our relationship with Krishna. And that is not a fact. We are thinking I'm this body, I'm separate. That is not a fact. We are all meant to satisfy Krishna. By Maya alone, Arjuna thought that the temporary bodily relationship with his kinsman was more important than his eternal spiritual relationship with Krishna. So initially, Arjuna says, I will not fight Krishna. You are telling me to fight, but I don't want to fight. Why? Because this family is very dear to me. But that was Arjuna put into illusion. He was put into illusion. That's the reason he took the family members as more important than Krishna. He thought himself separate than Krishna. The whole teaching of the Gita is targeted towards this end, that a living being as Krishna's eternal servitor cannot be separated from Krishna, and his sense of being an identity apart from Krishna is called Maya. So now why was Arjuna put into illusion? Arjuna is a pure devotee of the Lord. He's Krishna's friend. How come he's an illusion? He's put into illusion for our benefit, because we are in illusion. So we are thinking we are separate than Krishna. We are thinking I have nothing to do with Krishna. We have forgotten our eternal loving relationship with Krishna. And because of that, Krishna spoke the Bhagavad Gita for us to understand that once we understand the teaching of the Bhagavad Gita, then we will get perfect knowledge that I am an eternal part and parcel of Krishna. I can never be separated from Krishna. And my sense of being separated from Krishna, that is Maya. Sense of being an identity apart from Krishna is called Maya. Because we are thinking we are, we have nothing to do with Krishna. That is why we are in Maya. The living entities, as separate part and parcels of the Supreme, have a purpose to fulfill. Having forgotten that purpose, since time immemorial, they are situated in different bodies as men, animals, demigods, etc. So each of us has a purpose. Each and every one of us, we souls, we have a purpose, but we have forgotten it. And we are thinking, I am this body and my purpose is to enjoy this body and to stay as comfortable as possible in this body. And we are just keeping on changing bodies, sometimes in man, sometimes as demigod, sometimes as animal, but we have forgotten our original purpose. Why do I exist? That is a question we need to ask ourselves. What is the purpose of my existence? We exist. We exist, and we exist eternally. It's not that after I give up this material body and when I'm liberated, I will not exist. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, the souls exist eternally. So that's a question we need to ask. Why do I exist? What is the purpose of my existence? Such bodily differences arise from forgetfulness of the transcendental service of the Lord. Transcendental, when we say service, so in the material world, there is a difference between master and servant, because this is a world of duality. This is a world of happiness, distress. There's light, dark, there's, this is a world of duality. But in the absolute world, there is no difference between master and servant, because it's absolute. We cannot try to understand the absolute with our material mind. But if we just try to understand the meaning of absolute, then it becomes easy. It's absolute. There's no difference, So whether one is a master or a servant, there is no difference. So, but we have to understand that we have a purpose. And what is that purpose? That is what we need to find out. That is what we need to find out. So how do we find? But when one is engaged in transcendental service through Krishna consciousness, one becomes at once liberated from this illusion. How can we get liberated from the illusion of Maya, thinking of ourselves separate from Krishna? Engage in transcendental service. Be Krishna conscious. One can acquire such pure knowledge only from the bona fide spiritual master, and thereby avoid the delusion that the living entity is equal to Krishna. So we need to receive this knowledge from the bona fide spiritual master, because the bona fide spiritual master, he cuts our ignorance. He has the sword with which to cut our ignorance. And that sword, that weapon, is the weapon of knowledge. With knowledge, he helps us cut our attachment to this material world, thinking that we are the body. And then he gives us the pure knowledge. He gives us the knowledge, hey, you are not equal to Krishna. You have a transcendental, loving relationship with Krishna. Perfect knowledge is that the Supreme Soul, Krishna, is the supreme shelter for all living entities. And giving up such shelter, the living entities are deluded by the material energy, imagining themselves to have separate identity. So here is the perfect knowledge. What is perfect knowledge? That the Supreme Soul, who is the Supreme Soul, is Krishna. We are souls. Right? Each living entities, we have souls. But who is our supreme shelter? Is Krishna. And we have given up that shelter. And here we have come to the material world thinking that our shelter is this material energy. And we are thinking that we are separate from Krishna, that we have no relationship with him. So that is ignorance. Knowledge means to understand, I have an eternal relationship with Krishna. That is knowledge. He's the Supreme Soul. The Katha Upanishad says, Nityo Nityanam Chetanas Chetananam Eko Bahuna Yo Vidadati Kaman. There are so many souls, so many eternals. Out of all the eternals, when we say eternal, means the soul is eternal, right? So out of so many eternals, there is one eternal who's maintaining all other eternals. So Krishna maintains each and every soul, whether that soul is inside this material world or whether that soul is in the spiritual world, liberated. So even if the soul is liberated and in the spiritual world, the soul is being maintained by Krishna. The difference between a conditioned soul and a liberated soul is a liberated soul understands his position, his relationship with Krishna, whereas we, the conditioned souls, we have forgotten our relationship with Krishna. Thus, under different standards of material identity, they become forgetful of Krishna. When, however, such deluded living entities become situated in Krishna consciousness, it is to be understood that they are on the path of liberation, as confirmed in the Bhagavatam 2.10.6. Muktir hetvan yatha rupam svarupena vyavasthitihi. Liberation. What does liberation mean? Bhagavatam 2.10.6 says, liberation means to be situated in one's constitutional position as an eternal servitor of Krishna, Krishna consciousness. So when we become Krishna conscious, that is liberation. So trying to revive Krishna consciousness means we are on our path to liberation. If we truly want to get liberated, we have to revive our original Krishna consciousness. That is our constitutional position of every living entity. Is that okay? And how do we revive it? How do we revive our Krishna consciousness? We hear and chant. Hear from Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, chant the Hare Krishna mantra, and that is our path to liberation. The more we hear and chant, then we are reviving our Krishna consciousness.
Wow. I think the more we are stressing on one shloka per day, then the relation is being understood with the previous shlok to the connecting shlok. It is not that somehow one shloka is not connected, but I think that now when I'm reading more and the 2 shlokas every day also, then the relation is being understood more. That every shloka is connected. It is nothing from somewhere that it has appeared. No, they are just connecting. They're telling like how we read yesterday, and this is the continuation of what we read yesterday.
That's right. Thank you. And you know what? When we start reading one chapter continuously, it will make even more clear. It becomes even more clearer.
Yeah, I'll try that also.
Yeah, just take one chapter at a time and really dive into it. It becomes even more clearer.
Yeah.
So
but I just used to read it, but then as you're right, that it is good to just read the translation and understand that how it is connected.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it's all connected.
Yeah.
Krishna is gradually telling us, we just have to follow him, follow his instruction. That's all. Why would Krishna cheat us? What is Krishna going to gain by cheating us? He's our father. Why would a father cheat his child? Why would a mother cheat her child? Why? The father, mother always want the best for the children. So we just have to try to understand what Krishna is telling us and follow him.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you. Bhagavad Gita ki jai, Shilpa ki jai, Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Hare Krishna.